Humanity slept 10 millennia until the galaxy forgot their awakening. The galaxy had grown quiet. Stars blinked in the distance, and ships moved between systems carrying people who thought they understood the universe, but most of them did not. They had forgotten old stories, old legends, and most importantly, old warnings. The stories of humanity had faded. They were considered myths, like fire-breathing monsters or gods of old. No one believed humans had ever really existed. On the outer edge of mapped space, on a world that few remembered, a young historian named Lisa Parker sat in the dim light of the archive tower. The tower was tall and gray, made of metal that shone faintly under the light of twin suns. Inside, rows of glowing panels and ancient data crystals hummed softly. Lisa's fingers ran over the controls, her eyes scanning the holographic images projected above the console. She had always been curious about the stories. Old records spoke of humans as brilliant and dangerous, a race that had once ruled the stars. They had built machines of incredible power and had fought wars that reshaped entire systems. But 10,000 years ago, they had disappeared. Entire fleets vanished. Cities went silent. The galaxy moved on without them. Most scholars dismissed the stories as myths, legends told by those who remembered half-truths, but Lisa had always felt something different. Something in her gut told her that humans were real, and that their disappearance was not an accident. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Her console lit up with a message from the Galactic Council's archives. "Lisa Parker, your request for field verification has been approved," the message said. "A team has been assigned to explore the region beyond the Nebula of Silence. Proceed with caution. Humans, if found, are considered high risk." Lisa's heart pounded. High risk. That term was rarely used except for the most dangerous phenomena. She knew that if humans truly existed, the galaxy was not ready to face them. And yet, she could not turn away. She quickly gathered her notes and made her way to the docking bay. Outside, a sleek exploration ship waited, silver and long, with engines that glimmered under the twin suns. Captain John Carter stood near the ramp, his expression calm but serious. He was tall, with short brown hair and eyes that had seen more systems than most could name. "Lisa," he said, offering a hand. "Ready for a trip into legend?" "I've never been more ready," Lisa replied, taking his hand. She glanced at the crew. Navigator Amy Brooks checked her instruments, her brow furrowed as she ran simulations of the uncharted space ahead. Engineer Mark Ellis worked quietly on the engine diagnostics, making sure the ship was fully prepared for whatever lay ahead. As the ship left the planet's atmosphere, Lisa looked back at the archive's tower, shrinking behind them. She thought of the stories she had read, of the cities made of crystal and steel, of humans whose minds could command machines as easily as breathing. She wondered what she would see if any of it was still real. The trip beyond mapped space was long. Days passed as the stars shifted and the dark reaches of the galaxy unfolded before them. The Nebula of Silence lived up to its name. Thick clouds of dark gas blocked most sensors, making navigation difficult. Strange energy readings flickered across the ship's instruments, some of them old and familiar, others completely alien. "It feels wrong," Amy said one night, her hands gripping the controls. "The nebula isn't just gas. Something is hiding in it. Something old." Lisa nodded. She had felt it too. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up. It was as if the nebula itself was watching, waiting. On the 7th day of their journey, the ship passed through the densest part of the nebula. At first, the sensors picked up nothing but static and interference. Then a signal came through, faint and rhythmic. It was not random, it was deliberate. "Captain," Lisa said, pointing at the screen, "there's something out there, a structure or maybe a city. It's huge." John Carter leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Bring us closer." Carefully, as they approached, a sight unfolded that made the crew fall silent. Below them, a planet came into view, unlike any Lisa had ever seen. Towering cities stretched across continents, their spires glowing faintly even in the planet's dim light. Metallic roads and bridges connected enormous structures that seemed abandoned yet perfectly preserved. Vast fleets of ships rested in hangars, untouched by time. Lisa's voice shook. This is human. It has to be. Amy checked the readings again. Everything here is powered down, but the systems are intact. Whoever built this, they left it ready for something. Mark's face went pale. It's like they just went asleep. Lisa could not take her eyes off the planet. She had read about stasis technology, a method humans had supposedly mastered to pause life for thousands of years. Could it be true? Could humans really have slept for 10,000 years, waiting for the galaxy to forget them? As they prepared to enter orbit, a strange sensation filled the ship. The energy fields around the planet shifted, like invisible eyes scanning them. Instruments beeped with warnings. "Shields up," John ordered. "We don't know what we're dealing with." The planet's surface began to react. Large doors on massive structures slowly opened, revealing machines that were still alive in some sense, waiting. Drones and automated sentries activated, scanning the ship with precision. Lisa held her breath. They're protecting something. Or someone. A soft light flickered from one of the hangars. Slowly, a figure emerged. It was human, tall, with dark hair and strong features. His eyes opened, bright and aware. "I am Daniel Ross," the man said, his voice calm but powerful. "I have been asleep for 10,000 years. The crew stared, stunned. It was impossible, yet here he was standing before them fully awake as if no time had passed at all. Lisa took a careful step forward. "You're human, but how? Why now?" Daniel looked at the planet, then at the stars. "Because the galaxy has forgotten. They do not know we wait. They do not remember the reason we slept." John Carter spoke carefully. "And what reason is that?" Daniel's eyes darkened. "We slept because we feared what we might become. We feared our power. We feared destroying the galaxy. We left behind our cities, our fleets, our minds, and we waited. And now, it seems the time has come to awaken." Lisa felt a chill run through her body. The stories had been real. Humans had not vanished. They had chosen to sleep. And now, after 10,000 years, one of them was awake. The ship hovered above the planet, silent except for the soft hum of its engines. The crew knew that they had stepped into a history that no one else in the galaxy remembered. They were witnesses to the awakening of a species thought to be extinct. Daniel Ross stepped closer to the ship, his eyes scanning the crew. "I do not know why you have come," he said. "But know this, humanity is not lost. We have waited, and now we must see what the galaxy has become." Lisa felt a mix of fear and awe. This was bigger than any discovery she had ever dreamed of. The galaxy she knew was about to meet its past, and that past was not quiet, not weak, not gone. It was awake. The crew exchanged glances, understanding that nothing would be the same again. They had crossed the edge of legend and found the truth. The humans had slept. And now the galaxy would remember. The planet's surface glimmered as more lights came on, signaling that the awakening had begun. Machines stirred. Doors opened. And far away, in hidden chambers across the planet, other humans began to awaken, slowly, one by one, ready to reclaim a universe that had forgotten them. Lisa wrote down every detail, her hands trembling. She knew that when the rest of the galaxy learned of this, chaos and wonder would follow. But for now, they watched, silent and careful, as the first human in 10 millennia stepped into a world that had long forgotten him. And so, the story began. Humanity had slept. But the galaxy had not seen the last of them. Part 2. The sleeping world. The ship hovered above the human planet, engines quiet, as the crew tried to take in what lay before them. Cities stretched across the land, sparkling faintly with energy that seemed alive but untouched. Towering buildings of glass and steel reflected the light of distant suns, and enormous ships rested in hangars like statues waiting for their masters. Daniel Ross led the way. He moved with ease, as if he had just stepped out of a normal day on Earth. Yet everything around him was strange and silent. The streets were empty, the machines unmoving, and the soft hum of energy fields was the only sound besides the ship's quiet engines. "We need to land," Daniel said. "You cannot fully understand from orbit. You must see the cities and the fleets. You must understand why we slept." John Carter nodded. "Very well, prepare the landing gear. We need to be careful. We do not know what protections remain active." Amy Brooks guided the ship down through the atmosphere. The city below was enormous. Streets curved around massive towers, connecting plazas and docks where ships lay in perfect formation. Everything looked new, as if it had been built yesterday. And yet, the dust of 10,000 years seemed to settle in the air, making the planet feel heavy and old at the same time. As the ship landed on a broad platform near one of the central plazas, Daniel gestured for the crew to follow him. He led them through vast doors that opened silently at his presence. Inside, the city was brighter, with soft light reflecting off smooth surfaces and machines humming in low tones, powered by energy they could not see. Lisa Parker walked slowly, her eyes wide. It's amazing. It's alive, but no one is here," Daniel nodded. "We designed our cities to last. Even when we sleep, our machines continue to maintain the structures. They repair themselves, protect themselves. We left nothing to chance." Mark Ellis, the ship's engineer, bent down to examine a small vehicle parked nearby. "These are old," he said, "but their engines, they're still functional. And these systems, they're beyond anything we know. Even our best tech would fail here." Daniel smiled faintly. "We built technology to last longer than life itself. That was part of our mistake. We became too powerful, too fast. It is why we had to sleep, to wait for the galaxy to be ready." Lisa could feel the weight of his words. The humans of legend had not just disappeared because of a war. They had left because they feared themselves. And now, after 10,000 years, they were waking to a galaxy that had changed in ways they could not yet imagine. Daniel led the crew to a massive structure at the center of the city. The building's walls were smooth, glowing with faint energy patterns that shifted like water. Inside, they found chambers filled with rows of what looked like beds, but they were more than that. Tubes and machines surrounded each one, softly pulsing with energy. "These are stasis chambers," Daniel said quietly. "The rest of humanity sleeps here, millions of them waiting." Amy stepped closer, awe in her voice. "Millions, and all of them asleep," Daniel nodded. "We chose to sleep when our power became dangerous. We feared that if we continued awake, we would destroy ourselves or the galaxy. So we left, and the galaxy forgot us." Lisa walked between the chambers, scanning the names and information projected above each pod. Each human had a recorded history, skills, memories, and roles. Some were scientists, some soldiers, some leaders. All were preserved perfectly, ready to awaken when the time came. Mark shook his head. "This is unbelievable." "They could have conquered the galaxy and they chose sleep." Daniel's expression was solemn. "Yes, our greatest mistake was not in our power but in our pride. We were young and the galaxy was full of life we did not understand. We feared what we could do, so we waited." Lisa turned to him. "And now, why are you awake? Why not let the rest continue sleeping?" Daniel's eyes were steady. "Because the galaxy has begun to forget even the danger we once posed. Younger races grow careless. The warlike species expand without knowing the history. If the rest of humanity remains asleep, the galaxy may fall into the same traps we almost did. I must see what has changed." The crew understood the weight of his words. They had thought they were explorers. Now they were witnesses to a species returning from the dead, a civilization that had once been more advanced than anything in the galaxy today. They continued their tour of the city. In hangars, fleets of ships rested silently. Some were small and fast, designed for exploration. Others were massive armored vessels built to hold fleets within fleets. Lisa walked along the docks, amazed at the engineering. "These ships," she whispered, "they're beyond anything the galaxy knows now." Daniel nodded. "They were built for speed, durability, and power. Even now they could travel further and faster than any modern fleet, and they wait, as do we, for the right moment." Mark couldn't stop examining the engines. "And they all still work, after 10,000 years." "They do," Daniel said. "We built them to last." Humans were not just builders of cities, we were builders of time itself. But time does not wait for anyone, even us. That is why I am awake, to see what has changed, to guide what needs guidance. The crew moved deeper into the city. They saw gardens with plants that had been genetically engineered to survive without sunlight for centuries, parks that glowed with bioluminescent energy, water systems that purified and flowed endlessly without human intervention. Everything had been designed to maintain life without life itself being present. Lisa could not help but feel a strange mixture of fear and hope. The humans she had read about were not just clever. They were careful, thoughtful, and perhaps wiser than anyone alive now. Daniel led them to another structure, a massive library filled with holographic records. "All our knowledge," he said. "Science, history, engineering, art, war. Everything we learned and more. The galaxy may have forgotten us, but our records remain." Lisa walked among the glowing panels, scanning the data. Ships, weapons, plans, and records of diplomacy filled the room. "It's infinite," she whispered. "Everything humans ever did is here." Daniel nodded. "And everything we must teach again if the galaxy is to survive what comes next. We slept to prevent ourselves from destroying everything. But now, younger species may make the same mistakes. I will not let that happen." Amy looked around, wide-eyed. "So humans aren't gone. They're sleeping, waiting, and now you're here awake, alone." Daniel's gaze was steady. "Alone for now, others will awaken soon. The galaxy is not ready for all of us at once, but I must prepare. We must understand the galaxy before we reveal ourselves fully." The crew spent days exploring the city. Each day revealed something new. Laboratories with machines that could rebuild themselves, vehicles that could fly without fuel, weapons designed with precision that made modern designs look primitive. Lisa and the others took notes, careful not to disturb anything unnecessarily. At night, Daniel spoke to them quietly in the central plaza under the stars. "Humans were not meant to vanish. We were meant to pause. 10,000 years is a long time, but we learned patience. That is a lesson the galaxy must learn too. Power without understanding destroys everything. That is why we slept. That is why I woke." Lisa listened, taking in his words. The weight of history pressed on her. Humans were not just legends. They were a warning. They were a promise. And now one had awakened, ready to see what had become of the galaxy that had forgotten him. On the final day of their exploration, the crew reached the central command center. The room was enormous, filled with consoles, holographic displays, and a central chair that looked more like a throne. Daniel approached it, touching a control panel. The city seemed to respond, lights brightening slightly, doors opening, energy flowing more actively. "This is the heart of the planet," Daniel said. "From here I can communicate with all active systems, awaken what needs awakening, and guide what must be guided. But I cannot awaken everyone yet. We must move slowly. The galaxy is unprepared." Lisa nodded. "And your plan?" "What will you do now?" Daniel turned to her and the crew, his eyes steady and confident. "We explore, we observe, we prepare. The galaxy has forgotten humanity, but we have not forgotten the galaxy. When the time comes, we will rise not to conquer but to protect." That is why I woke. The crew knew that their journey was just beginning. They had crossed the edge of legend and now walked among the living echoes of a civilization thought lost. The humans had slept 10 millennia, but they were waking. And the galaxy would never be the same again. As the ship prepared to leave the central city for other parts of the planet, Lisa looked out at the endless streets, the glowing towers, and the silent fleets. She felt a mix of wonder, fear, and hope. The humans had returned. The galaxy had forgotten them. And now the story of humanity was beginning again, with the first steps of an awakening that would change everything. Part 3. The forgotten warning. Daniel Ross stood on the central plaza, looking out across the sleeping city. The sun of the planet cast long shadows across the towers, highlighting the precision of the architecture. He could feel the weight of history in the air, heavy but not oppressive. The humans of the past had built this world to last, and now, after 10,000 years, it was his task to understand it, to awaken what must awaken, and to guide what had been forgotten. Lisa Parker followed him closely. She had spent the last days recording everything she could: the cities, the fleets, the machines, and most importantly, the humans. She had seen Daniel awaken, but she had yet to meet others who might come next. She wondered how many were left, how many had survived in stasis, and what they might be like. Daniel turned to the crew. "The galaxy has changed," he said. "Younger races grow careless, war spreads quietly, and knowledge is lost. When we left, humanity had the power to shape the stars. Now we must see what has grown in our absence." John Carter nodded. "So what's the plan? Explore the planet first or check nearby systems?" "Both," Daniel replied. "We must understand our own world before we act. But we must also know what dangers exist beyond. The galaxy has forgotten our warning. That is dangerous." Over the next days, the crew spread across the human city. They discovered vast training grounds, laboratories, and research centers, all perfectly preserved. Machines moved quietly, maintaining the infrastructure, but no humans were awake yet. Lisa recorded the systems, fascinated by the intelligence of the designs. Robots could repair themselves, transport resources, and even predict problems before they happened. Daniel led them to the largest hangar, where fleets of human ships rested. Ships of every size lined the docks, from small scout vessels to enormous warships that dwarfed the largest fleets in the galaxy. Daniel ran his hands along the hull of one of the massive ships. "These fleets were built not just for war," he said. "They were built for survival. Humans did not conquer lightly. Our weapons were precise, our defenses nearly perfect. But it is not the ships that are most dangerous. It is what we learned and what we knew how to do with knowledge." Amy Brooks studied a small scout vessel. "Even this little ship, it's advanced, faster than anything in the current fleet logs, and its energy systems never need refueling." Daniel smiled faintly. "Correct. We built for endurance and efficiency. But that power is not for conquest. It is for protection. Humans feared themselves enough to sleep, to stop themselves from destroying everything. That is the lesson the galaxy forgot." As the crew explored, strange readings appeared on their sensors. Energy signatures beyond the planet's fields flickered in and out. Some were random, some deliberate. Daniel studied the readings closely. "Attention," he said. "The galaxy is not silent. There are forces beyond that remember humans only as a myth. Some will not be pleased that one of us is awake." John Carter's brow furrowed. "Forces? What kind of forces?" Daniel gestured to the sensors. "Warriors, scouts, and empires that have grown strong in our absence. They do not know what we were. They do not know what we can be. That is dangerous, very dangerous." Lisa asked quietly, "So what do we do? Just wait here and hide?" Daniel shook his head. "No, hiding is not our way. Humans do not hide from challenges. We prepare, observe, and act when necessary. That is why I awakened, to prevent the mistakes of the past from repeating." The next morning, Daniel led the crew to a training facility. It was enormous, designed to accommodate thousands of soldiers at once. Weapons were lined up along the walls, some familiar, some unlike anything the crew had seen. Simulation rooms projected entire battlefields with perfect detail. "We trained for centuries," Daniel said. not just physically but mentally, emotionally. Humans must be ready for the unexpected. War is only one danger, ignorance is another, and now the galaxy's ignorance has grown while we slept. Lisa and the crew observed quietly. The training equipment was designed to push humans beyond normal limits, to make them capable of rapid thinking, endurance, and adaptability. It was clear that humans had been prepared for challenges that no one else in the galaxy could even imagine. Mark Ellis ran his hands over one of the machines. Even this, it adapts to the user. It learns what you can do and pushes you harder. No modern tech comes close. Daniel nodded. Humans were designed to surpass limits, but we feared our own limits. That is why we slept. That is why we remain the galaxy's silent guardians. And that is why I must awaken more of my kind slowly. The galaxy is not ready for all of us at once. Over the next week, more humans began to awaken. The first was Mary Hill, a commander who had been in stasis for 10,000 years. Her eyes opened, sharp and alert, and she quickly assessed her surroundings. "I am awake," she said simply. "Where are the others?" Daniel smiled faintly. "You are first to awaken fully, Mary. Others will follow in time. We must move carefully. The galaxy does not know us yet." Mary studied the city and the fleet. "It has changed," she said, "but the design is the same. Humans have not lost their skill." "Good." Kevin Price, an engineer, awakened next. He immediately began inspecting ships and machinery, noting repairs and maintenance. "Everything still works," he said with awe. "Even after 10,000 years, the systems are stable. We were careful." Lisa watched the awakenings with fascination. The humans were not confused or frightened. They were focused, calm, and ready. Daniel explained quietly to the crew, "This is why humans were feared. We do not panic, we do not waste time, we act. That is why we slept. That is why we return carefully." As more humans awakened, they began exploring the city, interacting with the machines, and assessing the fleets. Each one brought new knowledge and perspective. Each one added to the slowly growing force of humanity, returning to a galaxy that had forgotten them. One night, while observing the city from a tower, Daniel and Lisa noticed a new energy signature beyond the planet's defense field. It was not human. It was small but fast and deliberate. "Scouts," Daniel said quietly. "Someone is approaching. Someone is watching." The galaxy is curious, or dangerous, perhaps both. John Carter and Amy Brooks prepared the ship to investigate. As they approached the source, they saw a small alien vessel, sleek and dark, with weapons that glimmered faintly. The alien ship's sensors had detected the energy of the human city and were approaching cautiously. Lisa felt her heart pound. They don't know what's here. They have no idea humans are awake." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Then they are about to learn. And we must be ready but not reckless. Humans act with precision, not panic. The galaxy will see what happens when it forgets the warning of our kind." The alien ship came closer, scanning, unaware that one human, Daniel, was already aware of their approach. He activated part of the planetary defense system, not to attack but to show presence. A soft energy wave expanded outward, scanning the alien ship, warning it to stop. The aliens halted. Their ship hovered for a moment, sensing something unfamiliar, something powerful. Then, without aggression, it retreated, as if realizing it had stumbled onto something far beyond its understanding. John Carter exhaled. "They didn't attack, but they were close, too close." Daniel nodded. "That is why humans slept. That is why we returned slowly. The galaxy has forgotten our power, but even a warning is sometimes enough to prevent disaster." Lisa wrote everything down, her hands shaking slightly. She realized the danger and the importance of this moment. Humanity had slept, but they were waking. And when they fully returned, no one would forget them again. The next days were filled with careful observation. The crew mapped energy readings, checked the fleets, and assisted Daniel in waking more humans selectively. Each awakening was planned, measured, and intentional. Mary Hill oversaw the fleet readiness, assigning tasks and ensuring that ships could be operational in case of danger. Kevin Price worked on repairs and updates, improving efficiency without changing the original design. Lisa recorded every detail, knowing the galaxy needed to understand the story of humanity's return. Daniel took quiet walks in the central plaza at night. He looked at the stars and thought of the past. The galaxy had grown careless while humans slept. But now the first warning had been sent. Humans were awake, and even if the galaxy did not remember the past, it would soon learn that some legends are more than myths. As the parting of shadows revealed the first lights of the planet's twin suns, Daniel turned to the crew. "The galaxy does not know us yet," he said, "but soon it will, and when it does, it will see that humanity is not lost. We only waited, we only watched, and now we are ready." And so the first step of humanity's return beyond their sleeping world was complete. They had begun to awaken, to prepare, and to observe. The galaxy had forgotten them, but the humans would remind it. Slowly, carefully, but with the strength that had made them legends 10,000 years ago, humanity was coming back. Part 4: The Return of the Guardians. The human city was alive with quiet movement. Machines hummed, fleets stirred, and humans moved with calm purpose through streets and hangars that had been still for 10,000 years. Daniel Ross walked among them, observing, guiding, and planning. The awakening had begun, but the galaxy outside was still unaware of what had stirred. Lisa Parker moved beside him, notebook in hand. She recorded every detail: the fleets, the training exercises, the careful awakenings of humans. She had seen the first few awakenings, but now hundreds more were coming online. Soldiers, engineers, scientists, and pilots were opening their eyes, stepping into a world they had not seen for millennia. Mary Hill oversaw the fleet in one of the hangars. Ships of all sizes lined the docks and crews prepared them for launch. The humans who had awakened were calm but precise. Every action was measured. Every step was planned. They were not reckless, but they were ready. "Daniel," Mary said, walking to him, "we have detected movement again outside the planetary defenses. This time it is larger than before. Scouts, maybe even warships. They are testing the perimeter." Daniel nodded. "Good, let them come." The galaxy has forgotten humans, but it will not forget this warning. John Carter, Lisa, Amy Brooks, and Mark Ellis joined Daniel and Mary in the command room. The sensors showed dozens of ships approaching, scanning, probing, and trying to learn what they could. Daniel studied the readings carefully. "They have no idea who we are," he said quietly. "They know only of myths. They will soon learn that myths can be dangerous." Mary activated the fleet communications. "All ships prepare for inspection. Do not engage unless necessary. Show presence, not aggression. Let them know we are awake, but do not strike first." The alien ships approached cautiously. Sensors picked up their hulls, their energy signatures, and their weapon systems. Daniel and Mary watched quietly. They did not panic. They had no need to. Humans did not panic. Lisa wrote quickly. "It's incredible," she said. "They don't even move as if they fear. They're in control." Kevin Price, newly awakened engineer, studied the fleet. "All ships are powered. Weapons are online. Shields are ready. Humans can defend themselves if needed, but they are patient. That's what amazes me." Daniel gestured to the central control panel. "Watch closely. This is how humans protect themselves. We do not strike without reason. We do not panic under threat. We act with precision and intelligence." As the alien ships came within scanning range, a wave of energy extended from the planet. It was soft but powerful, a signal that communicated presence and power. The aliens paused. They scanned, hesitated, and then backed away slightly. "They recognize something," Mary said. "They are cautious." "Yes," Daniel replied. "They feel power they do not understand. That is the warning. Humans leave first. Observe, then act. Do not destroy unless necessary." The fleet moved as one, small ships launching to intercept potential threats, larger ships repositioning to protect the city. Humans worked efficiently, coordinating without spoken commands, using signals and holographic displays to move as a single unit. Lisa wrote rapidly. It's like they are one mind but not the same mind. Every individual acts but all act together. That is human instinct, Daniel said. We are connected by purpose, by experience, by discipline. That is why we survived and why we slept. Our power is not in chaos, it is in order. Over the next days, humans continued to awaken. Hundreds more joined the city, emerging from stasis chambers. Some were scientists who immediately began assessing planetary systems. Others were warriors, analyzing fleets, strategizing defenses, and preparing for potential conflict. Daniel took Lisa aside. "We cannot awaken everyone yet," he said. "The galaxy is unprepared, but these first waves are enough to show our presence. We do not seek war, but we will act to protect what we have built." Lisa nodded. "And the galaxy will notice." "They will notice," Daniel said. "Curiosity will grow, then fear, and then understanding. Humans have returned. That is enough to change everything." Mary Hill and Kevin Price coordinated the fleet for a demonstration. Ships lifted from hangars, engines glowing, moving in patterns that were precise and elegant. Weapons systems powered up, energy shields expanded, and the city's defenses synced with the fleet. From orbit, sensors picked up approaching alien vessels again. This time they were more cautious, slower, probing carefully, scanning for power they did not fully understand. The humans did not attack. They did not need to. Presence alone was a warning. John Carter watched the display. "They are not attacking, but the aliens are reacting. They know they are outmatched." Daniel smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans do not need to strike first. Our strength is in readiness, control, and patience. That is why we slept. That is why we return carefully." Mary Hill addressed the awakened humans. "Prepare for observation and defense. Our goal is not to conquer, but to protect. The galaxy has forgotten our warning. It must remember, but without needless bloodshed." The humans followed her orders with precision. Engineers checked ships, soldiers trained, and scientists monitored energy fields. Everything was controlled, calm, and efficient. Lisa recorded everything. She realized that the galaxy had underestimated humans not because they were gone, but because humans had chosen to wait. They had slept, but they had not lost their skill, knowledge, or discipline. Daniel led the crew to one of the tallest towers in the city. From there, they could see fleets in motion, defenses ready, and energy fields glowing softly across the planet. "This is our strength," Daniel said. "The galaxy has forgotten humans, but we remember. We slept not to disappear, but to learn patience, control, and understanding. Now we act as guardians, not conquerors. That is why humans awake differently." Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the sensors. It was not alien ships, but something larger, moving fast with a powerful energy signature. Daniel studied it carefully. "An unknown force," he said. "They may be hostile, they may be curious. Either way, we must act carefully." Mary Hill nodded. "The fleet is ready. Humans will respond, but only if necessary. Observation first, action second." The unknown force came closer, revealing itself to be a massive alien vessel, larger than any in the current galaxy. Its hull pulsed with energy, weapons systems glowing faintly. It had not attacked, but it was studying the human city carefully. Lisa whispered, They are cautious. They don't know what to do." Daniel nodded. "Good. Caution is a sign of respect. They sense power beyond their understanding. That is the first warning humans give." As the alien vessel hovered, the human fleet moved in formation around the planet. Small ships flanked it, larger ships monitored from orbit, and planetary defenses hummed with energy. Humans acted with precision, not panic. Their presence alone told the galaxy that humans were awake and prepared. After several hours, the alien vessel retreated slowly, scanning but not attacking. It left a clear signal of observation before disappearing into space. John Carter exhaled. They left. No fight, but they know humans are back. Daniel nodded. Exactly. That is how humans act. Not with chaos, not with anger, but with purpose. We have reminded the galaxy that myths can be dangerous. That is the first step of our return. Over the next week, more humans awakened. Soldiers, engineers, scientists, and strategists joined the city. Each awakening was carefully controlled. Each new human brought new skills, knowledge, and strength. Lisa watched with awe as humans coordinated. The fleet moved in perfect harmony, the city maintained itself without error, and the awakened humans acted with discipline and calm. Kevin Price inspected the fleet and ships. Everything still works perfectly. Even after 10,000 years, humans were careful. They built to last, they planned for everything. Mary Hill prepared the fleet for possible encounters beyond the planetary defenses. We cannot predict what the galaxy will do, she said, but we can show readiness. That is enough for now. Daniel stood at the central plaza, looking out at the city and the fleet. He thought of the past, of humanity's power, of their choice to sleep. He thought of the galaxy, of the young races that had grown careless, and of the first warning they had just sent. The galaxy will remember, he said quietly. It has forgotten us, but it will not forget again. We do not seek war, only protection, but humans will act if necessary. That is why we awake. That is why we return. Lisa wrote the words in her notebook, knowing that they would be part of history. Humanity had slept for 10 millennia. The galaxy had forgotten them. But now, humans had begun their return. Not as conquerors, but as guardians, silent and powerful, ready to guide a galaxy that had long forgotten the lesson of their existence. And so, humanity's first moves beyond their sleeping world were complete. They had awakened, prepared, and reminded the galaxy of their presence. The myths were true. Humans were back. And the galaxy would soon learn that legends are more than stories. They are warnings. Part 5. The new age, the human city, was fully awake now. Hundreds, then thousands of humans had emerged from stasis, their eyes bright with awareness, their minds sharp, and their bodies ready. Daniel Ross walked through the central plaza, observing the activity. Humans moved with calm purpose, coordinating fleets, maintaining cities, and preparing for the galaxy that had long forgotten them. Lisa Parker followed, notebook in hand. She had recorded everything: the fleets, the cities, the awakenings, and the first interactions with the galaxy outside. She had seen humans act with precision, discipline, and intelligence, and she understood why they had been feared in the past. Now that fear would return, but tempered with respect. Mary Hill oversaw the fleet from the central command tower. Ships lifted smoothly from hangars, forming formations that reflected the skill and coordination of a civilization that had mastered space travel long before most of the galaxy had begun exploring. Humans worked as one, not as individuals chasing orders, but as a collective moving with purpose. Kevin Price inspected engines and systems, ensuring that all ships were at peak readiness. Even after 10,000 years, the humans had left behind technology that was flawless, precise, and efficient. Their ships could travel faster than anything in the galaxy. Their weapons were powerful yet controlled, and their energy systems were almost eternal. Daniel Ross addressed the gathered humans. His voice was calm but carried authority. We awaken not to conquer, we awaken to protect. The galaxy has forgotten us, but we have not forgotten it. We slept because our power was dangerous. Now the galaxy is unprepared for the strength we possess, but we will act carefully. We will guide, observe, and protect. We will be guardians. Lisa recorded the words carefully, knowing they would be remembered long after she left the city. This was not just the awakening of humans. It was the beginning of a new age, one that would change the galaxy forever. Outside the planetary defenses, the galaxy stirred. Alien fleets that had once tested the edges of human space now hesitated. They sensed power beyond their understanding, power that had slept for 10,000 years and had now fully awakened. They did not attack. They observed, watched, and tried to understand, but the humans remained calm. Presence alone was a warning. John Carter observed the sensors from the command room. They're cautious. No one is moving aggressively. They don't know what to do. Daniel nodded. Exactly. That is the first step of human return. We do not strike unless necessary. Our presence is a warning. Our discipline is a shield, and our patience is a lesson. Over the next week, humans began to explore beyond their planet. Scout ships moved quietly through nearby systems, gathering information. Humans observed colonies, trade routes, and fleets of other species. They noted strengths, weaknesses, and patterns, but they did not interfere. Their goal was understanding, not destruction. Lisa traveled with a scout team, recording every detail. She observed humans interacting with alien technology, analyzing structures, and moving with an awareness that no modern race could match. They were not arrogant. They were focused. They were careful. Daniel and Mary Hill coordinated the efforts from the central plaza. "We awaken slowly," Daniel said. "The galaxy is unprepared. If we reveal all at once, chaos will follow. We must guide, not dominate. That is why we act carefully." Kevin Price worked tirelessly, repairing ships, updating systems, and ensuring that the awakened humans could operate fleets at full efficiency. "Even after 10,000 years," he said, "everything works perfectly. They planned for this. They knew the galaxy would not wait." As more humans awakened, they took on roles that reflected their skills. Engineers ensured technology was maintained, warriors trained and coordinated fleets, and scientists analyzed the galaxy's state. Humans acted with calm precision, each step deliberate, each action measured. One day, a signal appeared on the sensors. It was a large alien fleet moving closer to the human planet. Their intent was unclear, but they were curious and cautious. Daniel studied the readings carefully. "They are testing us," he said. "They do not know who we are. They see only the planet, the fleets, and the humans who have returned. Their caution is a warning. We will respond carefully." Mary Hill organized the fleet. "Prepare to demonstrate strength. Do not attack unless necessary. Let them see we are awake and that humans are not to be underestimated." The alien fleet moved closer, scanning and probing. Human ships lifted smoothly, forming defensive positions. Energy fields shimmered across the planet, and the city's defenses aligned with the fleet. Humans did not panic. They acted with calm authority, showing readiness without aggression. Lisa watched from the command tower. "It's incredible," she said. "They don't even speak. Their actions communicate more than words ever could." Daniel nodded. "Humans have always been this way. We act with purpose. That is why we survived. That is why we slept. That is why we return as guardians." The alien fleet paused. Sensors detected energy patterns, ship formations, and planetary defenses. They hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. Some scanned for weaknesses. Some attempted communication. But humans did not react with hostility. They remained calm, observing, and ready to respond if necessary. Finally, after several hours, the alien fleet retreated slowly, leaving a warning signal. They had seen humans awake, and they understood that their curiosity had limits. Presence alone had been enough. John Carter exhaled. "They left. They understand. No fight, no casualties, but they now know humans are back." Daniel Ross looked out across the city, his eyes calm. "That is the lesson humans bring. Power without control destroys, but controlled power with patience and understanding protects. That is why we return. That is why humans awake carefully." Over the following weeks, the humans continued to awaken and prepare. Fleets moved beyond their planetary system, observing, recording, and guarding. Humans began assisting struggling colonies, repairing damaged stations, and ensuring that trade routes were safe. They did not interfere unnecessarily, but their presence was felt. The galaxy began to notice that humans had returned. Lisa documented everything, recording the interactions, the technology, and the behavior of humans. She realized that the galaxy had misjudged humans. They had not disappeared. They had slept, but they had returned wiser, stronger, and more disciplined than ever before. Daniel addressed the growing group of humans in the central plaza. "We are awake now. The galaxy will test us, observe us, and perhaps challenge us. But we will act with wisdom, not haste. We will guide, protect, and defend. That is our purpose. That is the choice humans made 10,000 years ago, and that is the choice we continue today." Mary Hill added, "Our fleets are ready. Our cities are secure. Our people are awake. We act only when necessary, but we will not ignore threats. Humans do not hide. We protect, we guard, and we endure." Kevin Price worked with engineers to extend the city's defenses and improve fleet coordination. "Everything is ready," he said. "The galaxy can test us, but humans will respond with strength and wisdom. That is our legacy." Lisa looked around, amazed at the calm efficiency of the awakened humans. Soldiers trained, engineers repaired, scientists studied, and fleets moved smoothly through the city and space. Humans acted as a single organism, disciplined, focused, and ready. Daniel Ross walked to the command tower and looked at the stars. He thought of the galaxy, of the civilizations that had grown careless, and of the humans who had slept and now awoke. He knew that the galaxy would change forever. Humans would not conquer blindly. They would not seek dominance. But they would act as guardians, as protectors, as reminders of what power and wisdom together could achieve. Lisa recorded the final words in her notebook. Humanity did not vanish. They slept. They waited. And now they are awake, prepared, and ready to guide the galaxy. Not as conquerors, but as guardians. They are proof that legends are more than stories. They are warnings, lessons, and reminders of what is possible. From orbit, alien fleets watched cautiously. Traders and colonies sensed the change. The galaxy began to realize that humans had returned, fully awake, disciplined, and prepared. Myths were now reality. Legends were no longer forgotten. Daniel turned to the awakened humans, his expression calm but determined. "The galaxy has forgotten us, but we have not forgotten it. We act not with haste, not with anger, but with purpose. Our awakening is the beginning of a new age. Humans are here, awake and ready, and the galaxy will remember." Lisa looked at the city, the fleets, and the humans. She felt awe, hope, and a deep understanding of what had been accomplished. The humans had returned. The galaxy would never be the same again. They had slept 10 millennia and now they were awake. The new age had begun. Humanity was no longer a myth. They were alive, aware, and ready to guide a galaxy that had long forgotten them. Legends had returned to the stars, not to rule, but to protect. And that protection would shape the future of the galaxy for generations to come.